for joining us. And we would not want to waste any minutes as we start off today's session. So permit me a few seconds to quickly share my screen. All right, for the benefit of those who are just joining us for the first time, today is day 2 of our diploma program in business, ISO management systems and business analysis. And would like to take again the rules of engagement because it's very important. The simple guides that would give us a very smooth program. All right, so rule number 1 is this program is scheduled to run for 12 weeks. And of course, we started last week, Saturday being the June 8th, and this will run till 31st of August, every Saturday. And rule number 2, we shall observe a 5-minute coffee break after each session and a 30-minute break from 12:30 p.m. to 1 p.m. before we commence the very last session. Rule number 3, there would be assessment at the end of every session, and everyone is expected to take the assessment. So what we would be doing is we would run through with all the sessions, and at the end of the session, by Monday, we would share the assessment link for every session. So you are required to do the assessment between Monday until Friday before the next class, which would be next week, Saturday. Rule number 4, only those who go through this program from start to finish will be issued a certificate of completion at the end of the program. After section, you will not participate in the graduation ceremony. Number 5, ensure to fill out the attendance form for every session. It is a proof that you were present during the session. Also ensure to fill out the feedback form. It will help us to give you the best service. Okay, so sometimes if you put your inquiries in the chat room, we may not see it immediately, but be rest assured, we're going through all the and we'll attend to them. Rule number 6, feel free to type the question in the chat room or wait for the Q&A segment to ask your questions. You can also unmute yourself to give a verbal response only when the trainers request for that during the training. So you can as well write down your questions in your writing material and wait for the Q&A session, or in the chat room, we have someone who is capturing all the questions as far as the different sessions are concerned, and will ask your questions when the time is right. Okay, so please, if you mistakenly unmute yourself, kindly ensure to mute yourself so not have any interference from anyone during the program. Okay, so go straight to introducing the trainer we have this morning. For those of you who were with us, this is our rector, Dr. Henry Aluko. He is the rector of Transformation College of Business and Technology, and he is the first trainer we have this morning. Dr. Henry is a lecturer at Arden University, UK, a certified John Maxwell coach, mentor, speaker, and trainer. He is the rector, of course, of Transformation College, and a seasoned management consultant who has supported organizations in development of successful operational and performance processes. Dr. Henry is the inventor and host of International Lifestyle, a life coaching session designed to transform dreams and vision, which is an aspiration of fulfilling and establishing a worthy career, business idea, religion, blissful family, relationship, community, etc. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put a round of applause in the chat room as we welcome our trainer, the first trainer for this morning, Dr. Henry Aluko. Thank you very much for joining us, Dr. Henry. You can take it up from here.
All right, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Edith, for that introduction. And good morning, everyone, for taking out time to be in class this morning. Let me start first and be sure everyone can see my screen. Can everybody see my screen, please?
Yes, please, Doctor. We can see your screen.
Excellent. Okay. All right. So I will just I'll start right away. Yeah, it's an opportunity to be here and also to kick off today's session. I'm elated when I have opportunity to always contribute to learning. And it's so interesting when I was given this topic because it's more or less one of my strongholds in terms of my personal coaching and mentoring session, which is intentional lifestyle session. Okay, so this morning we will be looking at personal vision and goal setting. Personal vision and goal setting. If we kick off conversation on this, we will spend the whole day and probably the whole year back and forth having series of opinion about this topic, especially when I try to look at it from the religious perspective, where especially in Nigeria, where we have a lot of religious bodies and everybody has turned to a motivation speaker talking about vision and goal setting. But we will take a little bit of a different dimension this morning, and I will be glad if we go together on this topic. Okay, good. Edith already talked about me, so I don't need to say anything. So we just skip that and move on. All right, so let's start from vision. Vision is quite a broad topic, and like I said, a lot of people have heard so many things about vision. Vision is synonymous to how we look, our eyes, our views, and all of that. So vision is such a broad topic that people talk about from every perspective. But I want us this morning to look at vision from everybody's perspective. What do you think vision is? What is your perception? What is your opinion about vision? I know we're quite a large class. I have about 118 participants, so it's difficult to have everybody to contribute, but I would like if you can type in your perspective or your opinion about what a vision is. I'll appreciate if that start coming in. What is vision to you as a person? What is vision to you as a person? So please let the responses start coming in. What is vision? So that we can all build an understanding from that. Alexandrina, if I don't pronounce your name well, or if I just keep the name, just pardon me. Is looking at vision as a goal. Stephen is looking at vision as a mental picture of a preferred future. I like two things you've mentioned there, Stephen. A mental picture of a preferred future. Thank you. Nias look at it as a power of imagination. Only vision is my driving force. Okay, yeah, it's an attribute. Okay, vision is a future you deserve by delicate. Vision is that big audacious goal. I like that. Go will. I don't know who that is, but I say go will. For a future, again, I'm seeing future here. Victor, vision is the way you see things. Plan of the future with imagination or wisdom. That is from Olotu. Send me your preparation of a goal. Blessing vision is your desire place you want. It's a desire place you want to be. Jaria's vision is what is to come. Okay. Vitalis, an envisaged priority. Oh, that's good. Vitalis, I would like your mic to be on. I would like your mic to be on, Vitalis. I'm going to need a bit of elaboration from you, Vitalis Atema. And allow bordering ability to think about and plan for the future. That's good. Vision is what and where you're hoping to get at a particular point in time. That is very, very interesting, Williams. That's very interesting. You've picked up some points that we will be talking about. Don't worry, just be on. I will come back to you. Just put your mic on, ensure it's working. And that is Vitalis. I will come back to you in a minute. It is a desire of the future to achieve Olusegun. Richard, vision is a foresight for the future. Seen a lot of people bringing ideas about the direction we're going this morning. I'm so impressed. Vitalis, I'm not hearing you. You can, is breaking so bad. A vision is an ideal or a goal towards which one aspire. Oh yeah, me. Sorry if I don't pronounce your word well. Vision is a goal or aspiration, Rachel. Generally, I'll say vision is an insight. Oh, Peter, that's lovely. It's an insight. Okay. Peter, I would like to have a word with you on that word. It's an insight. Vision is a goal and objective. So Peter, be ready to put your mic on as well. Vision is a goal and objective an individual intends to accomplish within a specific time. All right. Well done. That's a good one. Vision is what I am living for or reason of my existence for something. Okay. Michael Coyote, I would like to have a word on that as well. So I would like you to prepare to put your mic on. So I have Vitalis, I have Michael Coyote, and I have Peter Ezemadu, right? Vision is the future you aspire and desire. Oh, I love that. Vision is a workplace plan that you have for yourself. Good plan. That's a good word as well. The ability to think about or plan the future with imagination. Treasure, that is a very, very good one, with imagination. Treasure, be ready to have a word as well. Be ready to share something with us. Treasure Onyiye, right? Is a set of aim which is achievable. Yes, it is breaking. Oh, someone said it's breaking. Vision is possible. Pursue. Like I said, I may not be able to read everybody's opinion, but I'm so impressed at what everyone is saying. There's some keywords. Keyword, vision is worth dying for. Oh, that's interesting as well. Toluwase Itonola, right? Ariyo, please, I'd like your mic to be on as well. I'll come to you in a minute. Vision is a picture for the future. Thank you. Thank you. All right, without wasting much of the time, everybody has said something very, very interesting and very, very significant to what we'll be discussing this morning. So my special picks, any of you available? My special pick, is anybody available out of you? You can kick off. Anybody available from my pick? Vitalis, who again? Michael Coyote, who again? If I've mentioned your name, can you come up, please? Vitalis, your mic is still on. Can somebody else? Peter Ezemadu, are you available? If whoever is on, if you're using an earpiece, I think the earpiece is faulty. So you need to take that earpiece off. I'm just thinking. You can take that earpiece off and use your computer system directly or your phone system. So who is available? Peter Ezemadu, are you available? Michael Coyote, are you available? Okay. I think those names are not able to talk.
I think their connections are bad. Some of them have
Okay.
exited the call, so probably from their connections.
All right, good, good. We'll move on. These, I mean, the reason I picked those what's it called? Those. Sorry, I'm not supposed to go there yet. Yeah, the reason I picked those people or the people I've chosen is because there are some very key variable in what they have said or in their definition of vision. Like I said earlier, you can see what I mean when I said a lot of people will say so many things, but there are some things that are so key in what everybody have said. A lot of people have said things about insight, about future, about accomplishment, about imagination. And somebody said something that was so interesting, saying something worth dying for. All right. In the midst of all of that, we are all in the middle of trying to figure out what exactly is vision. What exactly is vision? So let's drive from that point of view this morning. Vision, according to the Collins Dictionary, says is the experience of seeing something that other people cannot see. All right, this is very, 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 very close to my way of thinking. I've always been talking about when I'm also always delivering any model that is related to innovation. I always tell my students, the difference between an ordinary person and an entrepreneur is the fact that both of them walk through the same street every day. Both of them consume the same products every day, right? But the difference between them is that an entrepreneur sees something that the other people, that in normal or natural people or general people do not see. All right. So they take a little deep, they dig deeper into what they consume, into the products that they buy. All right. It is not everybody that needs to review a product when you buy a product. But one thing I have seen is that there is nothing, absolutely nothing new under heavens. Some religious people have heard that over and over again. But I'm not going the religious side. I'm just trying to be academic a little bit. There is a theory, a Platonic theory that says everybody has got something inside of them, but the environment they belong to help them to shape what they have or to manifest what they have. All right. So I'll look into this definition from Collins in relation to that theory, that everybody has got the opportunity to see something in another way, in another dimension from every other person. But we just in most times do not bother or we do not care. Let's move on. We dwell on some things that are related to that as we move on. Vision is an idea or mental image of something. An idea or mental image of something that I can always relate back to what Collins was saying. A mental image. Not everybody is able to create that image, but someone has taken time to create an image, an idea of something. All right, finally, the Merriam-Webster dictionary look at vision as the act or power of imagination. So you can see everything everybody have said today is related absolutely with the term vision. Everybody has a good idea, and these are what the dictionary have said, which is not far from your opinion of vision, everyone. So now, based on the definition we have looked at it from an experience of something that other people don't see. That means I may imagine something, I have a mental image of something, or I have an idea that other people do not see. I happen to be a lecturer and also an assessor. And when I'm having a meeting with my team, I always bring up an argument that I think they should see literally, because it's the same assignment brief we're reading. But unfortunately, you find out that people do not pay attention to those details that we pick out as a moderator. All right. So when they mark a student script, it comes to me for me to moderate it to see if they've been fair in their marking. So looking into the requirement and what they have marked at times, I pick some points that they did not pay attention to, because I'm able to explore further. I have a further idea about what they should be looking at. So that means, I mean, it doesn't mean they don't have the capacity, they just chose not to build further the capacity to imagine, to build an idea everybody or everyone else do not have. That means vision has characteristics. It's a human. It has a makeup. All right. So few of these characteristics are conceptualizable. Vision should be conceivable. It is something you should be able to conceive. It is an idea. That is why it is the power of imagination. You should be able to imagine it, to conceive it. Then it should be desirable. When you share your vision with someone, it should attract the person's interest. As a life coach, I've had people speak to me about their vision of what they want to do. And I'm left thinking through what they've said in a couple of minutes, because it is just not attractive to me. Then it leads to further scrutiny and further scrutiny before we are able to refine the direction they should be going to. For example, recently I asked someone, what is the definition of success for you? And the person said, well, the success is making a lot of money for me to be able to cater for myself and my family. And I look at it, oh, that is his whole idea, his whole imagination of success. And success is way far more than that. We're not going that direction. So you can see it should be something that can attract other people. It should be feasible, realistic. I've had people, I want to be a business guru, and the product. Okay, let me give this simple example. I have a module I deliver in my university. It is called Concept and Innovation. And it is for students to develop something, a new idea, a new product. And for me, it is so easy to develop a new product. Like I said earlier on, there is nothing new. But you find that students struggle to do this. Why? Because they just think they just need to go bring something new. Not knowing, they just need to think about what exists and add something to it. So if someone is doing yogurt and it's not adding, for example, ginger. So if I add ginger to my yogurt, it becomes a new product that doesn't exist in a particular environment. Then the point I now need to look at now is the combination of yogurt and garlic. Is it feasible to combine them? Is it realistic? The way I think about it, then it should be focused. There should be clear objectives of my vision, as you know what I want to achieve. And that's why you see organizations have objective like we want to improve our profit margin by 15%. That is a clear objective. It is very clear and flexible. We live in an environment, let me say, we live in an unstable environment where things change so fast. Things changes. The factors that determines the change in our environment are so volatile. All right, they're so volatile that many times we struggle, if care is not taken, to adjust to be able to meet these demands of these factors. So our vision need to be flexible to be able, all right, to be able to be able uh, uh, to navigate, let me put it that way, to navigate through these changes. For example, you have a business that is operating in an environment where there is political instability. How do you? This is an external factor you cannot control. The only thing you can do is to adjust your vision or your business in such a way that it is flexible enough to meet the demands of the political instability. So our vision should be responsive to changes in these environmental factors. Then finally, vision should be so easy to understand. It shouldn't be complicated. So within the definitions, the three definitions, these characteristics should be the makeup of the vision or of your vision. If you look at or if you evaluate your vision and could not see any of these characteristics, then you need to sit down and reevaluate. Like I said, I don't have much time, so I will just be a little bit fast, but I'll cover everything. Then we'll come back if we can to some things I want to share. So vision, we said personal vision and goal setting. So what is goal? I mean, what is goal? This is another thing that is going to throw a lot of meaning out there. You can post your meaning in there. I may not be able to read it this time around, but please, I'll be glad if you can post out what you understand by the word goal. What is a goal? What is a goal to you? What do you think goal is? Or what do you think a goal is? Quickly, just type it in there. Targeted objective, Victor, that's good. Targeted objective. And while we're waiting for more to come, let's move on. So what is the goal? It's something that you hope to achieve, especially when much time and effort will be needed. When much time and effort will be needed. A lot of us are football fans, and we get angry when when some strikers or some footballers misses a goal, and we don't consider the time and the effort it took the footballer to build before even getting to that position where he thinks he can score a goal. So that's from the Collins, and the Cambridge says it's an aim or purpose. Aim or purpose. Webster is looking at it as the end towards which effort is directed. I love that. Is the end towards which effort is directed, which is very close to what Collins is saying. Then Lord, in 1968, look at goal as a result an individual try to accomplish. What you try to accomplish. You can see different perspective, but it is something to achieve. So at the end of the day, goal is something to be achieved. Goal is something to accomplish. But before we get to the point where we accomplish the goal, we need to put in something that is called effort and time. Effort and time. So we have different goals, as all of you know: short-term goal, long-term goal, personal goals. Of course, you can always read all of these. I won't go in there because there are areas I really want to dwell in on my slide. Yeah, professional goals, financial, academic goals, and social goals. This is just a few of the different goals a lot of people have. Some people have family goals. That's why some people have loads and loads of children, isn't it? Even in the midst of austerity, it doesn't affect them. So people have different goals. Some people goals is to buy a Ferrari. What a goal. I mean, why not? That is their goal. That's what they feel. So these goals set into different categories. It may be short term, it may be long term or any other thing. But goal is not a goal if there are not no if it doesn't have certain characteristics. All right. So a goal, to be a goal, must have certain characteristics to be an effective goal. Like I said earlier on, sharing experience of me and my client who was sharing his understanding about success. And I was looking at it, this don't really meet the characteristics of what your goal should be in terms of being successful. So goal must have certain characteristics. So before we go into those characteristics, I am going to play this short video, and I want everybody to pay attention to this video and make notes, because we're going to have a conversation about this video when we come back quickly or after the class.
Your name is? Elizabeth. Elizabeth, you have a work life? Yep. Family life as well? Mm-hmm.
So let me pause it quickly. Can everybody hear the sound? Everybody?
Yes, we can. Yes, Doc, we can.
Okay, excellent. So I'll start again.
Children? Your name is?
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth, you have a work life?
Yep.
Family life as well?
Mm-hmm.
Children?
Not yet.
Not yet. What's the nature of your work assignment?
I direct an international firm.
An international firm?
Mm-hmm.
So you really are interfacing with all kinds of people in the firm and outside the firm.
That's right.
You want a rich personal life and a rich family life. Do you ever feel like you get bogged down in the thick of thin things?
Yes.
Well, that might be analogous to all these little small things that tend to fill our life. And they're just little by little, they just accumulate. Now, your job, you can't go above this, is to get all those large rocks in the jar. Good luck. What's that one called?
Q2, planning, preparation.
Right. Planning, preparation, prevention, and empowerment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the next rock she's putting in there is called relationships and family. We didn't look at that third rock you put in there. That's employment, some key employment issue, and then you put major projects here, and I can't get it above there.
I haven't worked it yet.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's fair. That's called service, community, church. Do you ever feel like this?
Yes.
How many feel like this? By moving the little things around, you might squeeze in one more of those big major things. It's almost, wow. You know, if it doesn't fit, force it. Here's something that's called urgent and important. It's a quadrant 1 thing that is blindsiding you, that it's your biggest client, that if you don't get back to that client now, you've given up your vacation and you have no special block of time just for yourself. I'll tell you what you can do if you want to. You can take a whole different approach. You have a totally fresh bowl. You can work out of a different paradigm altogether.
Well, then I'd rather put these in the bottom. And then for the little pebble,
Employment,
big opportunity,
big opportunity.
important and urgent, block of time. Those young children keep looking at me. Glad my husband's not here. Now I dump these in there.
Okay.
Okay, that's an
Elizabeth?
interesting clip. All right, let me move on. Before I go into that, I need one or two people to type in there what they think about that video. Just type it in there. Yes, I know it's very powerful, Lawali. Put your mic on. Tell us how powerful it is. Lawali, put your mic on and tell us how powerful that video is. Is he able to do that, Olawale? He did
Yes,
come.
Olawale, please go ahead.
Yeah, what I saw there was the power of thinking smart or thinking smartly, which has to do with goal setting. But she was able to, uh, with a smart thinking, know where to put the service, the project, and every other things about life. So that's
Right.
why I said.
All right. So I pick thinking smartly from your explanation. That's fine. James Okereke. James Okereke, can you come up? James Okereke, can you come up?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah,
Good
go
morning.
ahead. What do you mean? Prioritize key objective than smaller ones. What do you mean?
So I always believe that on every scenario there are always key things that are meant to be achieved. And also why those key things are there, there are also miniature tasks and processes that are there. So what I have seen many people do, just like she exhibited in the first attempt, was that the man filled in smaller tasks that are part of the bigger picture, but are not necessarily the core thing that she's supposed to see. So she failed. But when she now identified, okay, these are the key things I need to sort out first, and she was able to take care of them, then those smaller parts, which are also part of the system, now came in and everything still uh entered the same bucket.
Yeah.
So that's what I thought.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm seeing very interesting conversation. And finally, because of time, can I have Favor Chukwudike? Favor Chukwudike, can I have you come up as well?
Yeah, good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Go ahead.
Um,
Setting priorities
from the
right
video,
is the key. Go ahead.
yeah, she was able to know how to set her priorities right, know what should come first, what to do first, and eventually, when you set your priorities right, know what comes first and what to do first. You see that every other thing falls in place
Okay.
because you're on track. Your priorities helps you be on track. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. I mean, very interesting conversation going on in the chat. Thank you, everyone. Know what is important. Everybody's looking towards priority and thinking smart and all of that. All right, let me go with, in this direction to lay emphasis or to elaborate a little bit further on that. We live in a macro environment. We live in a macro environment where there are some bits and pieces that makes up our life. The fact remains that, some of us have said in our comment, the fact remains that without these bits and pieces, our life is incomplete. All right, those are the green pebbles you see. Life is incomplete. So we now have, within that macro world that we live in, we have a micro world. The micro world now are those things that the lady was trying to fix. And the things she mentioned at the beginning, we have our work life, we have family life, we have career, we have relationship, we have family. We have so many things that are more of priority that we should pay more attention to. But initially, she was looking at fitting those things into the pebbles by force, hitting them in. That is how most of us do. We try to fit in our priority into that kind of environment that is choking the priority. And it's not giving us enough space to explore those priorities. So the green pebbles will only choke it. We take too much of our space and we are unable to actually explore, to actually grow our life in academically, career-wise, or any other way. So until we learn to actually define what is my goal, what is my goal, then that helps me to prioritize what should go in the bucket first. So it's not just about thinking smartly. It is not just about any other thing, but what is my priority? Because if we go back to the definition of goal, we saw it that it is something you want to achieve in the midst of time. I mean, that requires time and effort. All right. So if it requires time and effort, then what should I prioritize? What should take much of my time and much of my effort? So in that regard, then every goal should consider these 5 characteristics. Every goal should consider these 5 characteristics. It should be specific, it should be measurable, it should be attainable, relevant, and time-bound. Let's put that video clip in our mind as we look into these acronyms. Let's assume the lady was given a particular time frame to ensure that all this priority fits into the bucket. She will have spent more time trying to struggle to fit in the priorities into the green pebbles, rather than considering putting the priorities first. All right, so our goal should be very specific. What exactly do I want to achieve? That was what I was expecting from my client when I said, what's your definition of success? I was expecting him to quickly think, what actually do I want to achieve? Because that was my next question to him. What actually do you want to achieve in life? If you could look at this as success, then we need to really go back and reassess, what do you want in life? So what are you trying to achieve? Are you trying to put in your priorities into the pebbles by force? Or you're trying to achieve the priorities in the midst of other little things that helps life grow together? All right. As much as you want to build a career, you cannot. I had a client talking to me recently. He's got a brother who totally has dissociated himself from the social life because he wants to build a career. Now he's a professor at his age, now trying to get a relationship. But unfortunately, every arrangement they've made to hook him up with a lady, every lady kept saying is boring because he failed to carry all those little green things alongside with what he wants to achieve. Then, how measurable is my goal? How will you know when you've achieved it? So you must be able to measure. There must be milestones that would show that I have. So you need to set your dashboards to show that I've achieved this and moved to this. I personally have tried to put an achievement to my birthday every year. My birthday was yesterday. So you can send my happy birthday in the chat. All right, level one. So I attached an achievement to my birthday, and one of my achievements was to change up this year, and I got it a week before my birthday. I was like, yes, I've achieved because I set a milestone. It is measured between this time and this time. I should be able to achieve this, and that takes me to attainable. Is it possible to achieve the goal? Is it possible in the middle of every other thing, in the middle of high cost of living, in the middle of instability and all of that? Is it possible for my business to still thrive? Is it possible in the midst of financial constraint? Will I still be able to have a degree? Will I still be able to do a master's degree or go further? Then is it relevant? Is it relevant to where you're going? Is it how relevant it is to the family you want to build, how relevant it is to the career you want to build, how relevant it is to the community you belong. You know, it's quite unfortunate that back home we don't really think the community matters when we are building our goals. You know, that's why I'm so impressed when I was invited to join the team of this college, because when the founder shared with me his idea about education, I was like, wow, there is nothing other than thinking about the community, thinking about how people should access education in the middle of constraints. Then time bound, I already talked about that earlier on. Time bound. I don't have much of a time. When do you want to achieve this? Let's move on, because we're going to be talking about some key things. So goal setting. Goal setting, based on those characteristics, goal setting affects our behavior and performance. So definitely it's going to, like the example I gave, the guy that wanted to have become a professor, of course it affects his behavior. Even if it doesn't affect his performance, but it affected something, all right? As well as help mobilize energy, which leads to a higher effort overall. That's what Lurk and Latham said. Individuals who set specific and difficult goals perform better than those who set what everybody can achieve. Of course, if you're looking at what everybody can achieve, then it's easy. And that is why you walk through that same street. That is why you buy that same product. That's why you're wearing the same material. Every other person is wearing. But an entrepreneur do the same thing and brought out a goal and brought out a business idea, a direction that the community has come to embrace. All right. So the Locke set out 5 basic principles. So there is need for clarity, challenge, commitment, feedback, and task complexity. What do I mean by these 5 things? Now, specific goal puts you on a direct course to achieving those goals. When there is clarity in your goal, when you can clearly explain this 1, 2, 3, 4, when you are objective in your goal, then it is clear enough, then you can pursue it. Challenging goals can improve performance. That's what I just said earlier on. When you set a goal, I have a son who is in the school, and when he comes back and tells me at times, I should have gotten 100, but I got 90, and I was like, okay, that's good, but why should you have gotten 100? Because that's a challenge I set up for myself. That's a target I set for myself. I should be hitting these. So if every other person can eat it, then I should eat it. I have to be outstanding. And I went further when I heard that word. I said, excellent is good. Being excellent is good. Being excellent in what you do, being excellent in academics, and excellent in what your business is good. But there is a room for outstanding when you outsmart every other person. And for you to be outstanding, you need to set challenging goals. I won't dwell too much on that. How much an individual is attached to their goal will impact achievement. How committed are you? Of course, it doesn't affect your social life. It's just that you need to give more priority to commit to what you want to achieve. Spend more time in study, spend more time in doing research on that product, spend more time in doing research on marketing or how to market your product, spend more time in looking at what other people are doing, spend more time in looking at what the people that got promoted on your career, what are they doing that you are not doing? I joined an organization, the organization I just left, I joined it, I mean, within the last 4 years, 4 years plus. I've got people who have been in that organization for 9, 15 to 15 or more years. And within 4 years, I was a deputy HOD of a department. It's not bragging, but it's about commitment. What amount of time, the amount of time I put into what I'm doing, the amount of time I put into my study, the amount of time I put into reviewing things, developing things. So goal setting is more effective in the presence of feedback. Some people blank out from criticism. Let people criticize your goal. Let people do it. So it helps you to reevaluate. Then complexity, overly complex goals becomes overwhelming. Naturally yes, you want to set a challenging goal, but naturally you just think you cannot do it. I set up a business 7 years ago. It didn't last for 3 months. It crashed because my goal was just too much for a new business. Then I reevaluate and started another, which is thriving today. So these principles are very interesting. What Locke and Lawton have said, you have to think about clarity, you have to challenge yourself, you have to commit to it, allow feedback, and do not, have an overly complex goal. All right, so if those are the principles, while I'm running out of time, let me quickly run you through a research I did in 2023, which is looking at my own perspective or principle of goal setting. All right, number one is hard work. Hard work. You've set the goal, yeah? The goal is there, very attractive, very smart goal. Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. Very, very interesting. But it needs hard work. You need to put the work into it. You need to put the work into it. I personally do not believe in luck. I believe in hard work. I believe in, let's not go into motivation speaking now, where we try to define between hard work and working hard, okay? So what I mean in this case is putting the effort. If you look at our definition, time and effort. So putting the effort, the required effort into it. Don't rush the process. Put the effort into it. Try as much as you can and be patient through the process. At times, it feels you're losing. It feels you're losing. It feels you're not going to achieve that goal. Maybe after a month or two, or maybe in your first semester, you just find out that your grade wasn't what you expected that it's going to be. And you're losing interest. No, I didn't graduate with a good grade. I'm a doctor today. I'm working towards being an associate professor in a couple of years now. I didn't graduate with a good grade. In fact, I don't know. I didn't graduate with, I think I graduated in my first degree with a pass. All right. I didn't. So, but I moved on. I didn't let that. I was just patient on where I was going. I have a goal, and that was what was driving me, even in the midst of the failure. But I keep pushing and become what I am. So do not give up at the initial stage. The goal is very good. You need patience. As you're putting the work and the effort into it, you need patience through the process. You need patience through the process. Then you need sacrifice. Like that, like I put on that slide, if you don't sacrifice for what you want, then what you want becomes the sacrifice. If you don't sacrifice for what you want, then what you want becomes a sacrifice. So you want a progression in your career, but you're not ready to sacrifice the time for it. You're not ready to go further to study another course and another course and another course. I never stop publishing papers because I know what my goal is. I never stop delivering lectures, and I make sure my lecture is quite different from the slide that the university has given me, because I took time, or I will always take time to work on the slide. I would always take time to do further research. In fact, before I deliver my class every morning, I try to check if there is a new model that has been developed on the topic that I am teaching. Because what if a student has done that and the student come to class and just mention, are you aware of this model? Oh my God. So it is important you sacrifice time, you sacrifice resources, and so many other things. Consistency. Keep on doing it. Keep on doing it. Focus on the process. Don't change your vision. Don't change your goal because of the immediate environment. You can see that lady. What did she change? She just changed her perspective. I think this thing should have more priority than this, but she's still bent on the same goal. Bent on the same goal to achieve those things. Then discipline. Discipline. A lot of motivation speaker tell you so many things, but a lot of people talk about discipline. I mean, very few people. All right, we need to be disciplined. I'm not a disciplined person, especially when trying to keep fit. I start gym and tomorrow I'm tired. I don't want to go. And I want results. But it doesn't come like that. We just have to keep doing it. Be disciplined in our approach. And finally, confidence. When everybody looked at it, you cannot achieve this. All right, thank you. But I'll put the effort in. And if I fail at the end of the day, at least it will be in record that I've put everything that I can into it. So put everything you can. Be confident in your goal. You want to be an engineer, be confident with it, irrespective of where you are right now, but the goal is right there. You want career progression, you want promotion. It seems that they're not seeing what you're doing. Don't stop doing it. Just keep putting everything you can. Funsha, I'll come to you at the end, all right? Just keep putting the work. Be confident in the goal and keep putting the work. Don't change it when they don't support you, but just keep doing it. I cannot remember, I cannot count how many times I've developed a proposal for my institution and it was thrown under the rug. But before I left, I just see some of those things being introduced back into the system. And if I'm called into a committee, I was like, oh, I knew this was going to work. That was why I developed in the first place. Let's put it into play. People fight goals. People fight ideas. But you've done your research. Stay on it. Convince them that this is possible. If we fail, we did not fail because we did not try. We failed at times because of our approach. The approach might be the reason we fail. So be confident about the goal and keep pushing it. All right? So a goal without a plan is just a wish, of course. You need to consider the smart perspective of goal. Then you need to have a plan. Just like that lady quickly think, okay, I think I should pick my priority first before every other thing. So how to set goal in the midst of 2 minutes that I have left. Think about the result you want to achieve, the end result, what I want to achieve, where I'm going to. Create the SMART goals. We've talked about SMART goals. Write your own goals down. Create an action plan. It's a very important. A timeline, which is also one of the acronym of SMART. Goal, take action. And one thing is very important that a lot of people fail to do is reevaluate at every point. In my life, I've always built a gate. So I get to a gate, I want to evaluate from where I was coming from to that gate. Have I been able to achieve everything I need to? Then I move forward. I love a particular data analysis tool, SPSS, that we use in the academia for analysis. Now, there is something you need to do data validation and reliability before you can decide if the data is good enough to proceed to the next level of analysis. So that's the same way I look at progression or progress. Reevaluate, assess it. have I been able to achieve blah, 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 1, 2, 3, 4? Then if not, I need to go back. It's a problem to go back for people, but no, it is still the process of evaluation and control. We call it control and evaluation. So I have to go back. What did I do wrong? What approach wasn't right? And try to fix it, then continue. All right. So the 7 steps. So tips, make your goal very small, not too big, like what you literally cannot achieve, write it down, tell a friend, yeah, talk to people about your goal. I know someone will say, oh, someone will go and outshine me, or someone will steal my idea, or in a world we live in where there are diabolical people, or anything you want to call it. So I don't want to share my no. It's good. In the midst of all of that, you still need to discuss with someone. That's the reason why some people decide to pay for a session with a coach or a mentor who is able to run through their goal with them, and they are able to help them think further, explore other things. All right. So sometimes we get into those roadblocks and everything, but just go again. Check the progress. Control and evaluation is the name it's called. So there is, an exercise at the end of this slide, which I will like you to do. Please, everyone need to do that exercise and send it to the admin. Please, it is important. So overall, why do I need a goal? I need a goal because I have something I want to achieve. I need a goal because I don't want to waste time. I need a goal because I want to be able to contribute to the society. I need a goal because I want to be a better person. I want to build a better career. I want to be able to survive through the macro environment, and so many reasons for that. So before you can set a goal, organizations always have a vision, and their vision build the goal, which now give back to their objectives. All right. So that is my idea about personal vision and goal setting. I have a couple of minutes left. I think that in that little time, yeah, I can go into the question. I saw someone raise hand earlier on. Okay, Funsho, you can start. So if you have any question, please, you can raise your hand, then we can run through your questions together. Funsho John, please, can you unmute him? Funsho John. Can we have Funsho John unmute, please? Edith? Hello, Edith, can you hear me?
Yes, Doc, I can hear you. Your line was actually breaking. I hope I'm not the one who
Sorry.
is.
Can we have Funsho John unmute, please?
Okay, Funsho. All right, Funsho, please go ahead.
Yeah, good morning, Prof. Good
Good
morning,
morning.
everyone.
Good morning.
Now, the question I have is that, let me start by appreciating Transformation College for this amazing opportunity, and thank you, Prof, for your sacrifice to make your time available. My question is, when you set goals and when you have vision, there are constraints, hard constraints. In such situation, what should you do? Should you should you think, that those vision, those goals you have set, you are constrained because there are no, they are not meant for you to be achieved? That's my question.
Thank you, Funsho. And Sam, get ready after this. I don't think there are goals that are not achievable as long as you consider the SMART objective or the SMART acronym, looking at every one of them. And when you have evaluated your goal based on that, then I think you can go ahead. In the midst of every goal, there are challenges. Please do not ever think because the goal is so interesting, it's so something that is attractive, you're not going to go through challenges. Look, I said earlier on, we live in a macro environment and we are just micro in the middle. All right, look at that lady. Those green pebbles, like I said earlier on, those are constraints. And what was she trying to do? Push her priority, her goals into those constraints until she had to look for another approach. So in every case, Funshaw, always think about the approach. There is every possibility. I mean, in my coaching career, I have seen a lot of people that the problem they have is not that the goal is weak or the goal is too strong for them to achieve, but because their approach is wrong. For example, I was talking to a client who wanted to start a business, and the first thing she was thinking about is money. And that is what a lot of people do. You want to go to school. You want to start a business. You want to top up a career. The first thing people think about is money. Come on, no. That is a very wrong approach. Money sustains or money supports the goal. It should not be the reason that I should now, oh, I cannot go further because I don't have enough fund. Have you put the goal in front of someone who reads it and look at, oh, I think I would like to invest in this? No, there are constraints. There will be constraints. But another thing we need to look at is my approach right? Approach is one thing that I think help us to navigate through any kind of constraints. Funsha, I think I've been able to answer that. If you're not, you can always link up with me through Edith. We can have further conversation. Sam, number 2. Similuluwa, number 3, and Ken, number 4. Let's go. Sam?
All right. Thank you, Prof. Good morning once again.
Good morning.
And I really want to appreciate the Transformation College for this opportunity. My question goes like this. Let's imagine you have you are two persons trying to achieve a particular goal, and you who are trying to do your own responsibilities, you are up and doing with every single thing, duties that are meant to be done in achieving such goal. And the other persons seems to be inconsistent in playing out their own roles. What should you do? What's the best approach to do it and not to step on the person's tail, or not to make the whole achievement looks discomforted or something? What should we do?
All right, thank you, Sam. Let me start from this perspective. Before I pursue a goal with someone, we must have clearly defined deliverables and responsibilities. Clearly defined deliverables and responsibilities. Now, our evaluation and assessment or control is based on that. Deliverables and responsibilities. So if it is lacking on the other side, I mean the other person, at the beginning, we can offer support, because it is very good in circumstances like that for you to consider what the person is going through or what is, I mean, making the person lag behind. So we can offer support, but if it continues, then I think there is nothing wrong in separation. There is nothing wrong. If I'm in a business with someone who doesn't have the interest of the business at heart, and I'm putting my 150% and the person is putting 20%, then I need to start. If I need a partner because of financial constraint, then I need to start looking for another partner to work on my project, rather than concluding that, no, I don't think we can achieve this goal, because the fact is the other party will keep drawing you back. The other party will keep drawing you back. So sit down, have a talk about it, give a lot of rooms. And when you find out it's not going to change, I think there is nothing wrong with separation.
Yeah. Thank
Does
you
that
so
make
much.
sense to you?
Yes, thank you,
Yes, sir.
sir.
Thank you, Sam. And number 3, Simi, is it Simi Solua or Simi Olua? I think she's put her hand down. So let's go, Ken. Ken, let's go.
Good morning.
Good morning, Ken.
I really appreciate you, Doctor.
Thank you, sir.
Happy birthday. I also want to appreciate the Transformational College for the privilege.
Thank you, sir.
Please, regarding goal setting, my question is, should goal setting be purely mental, or because of the advance in technology, individuals or organizations should rely on the software that can help in setting these goals in order to meet up all of those characteristics you have mentioned?
Thank you, Ken. Please note something, and that goes to everyone. Technology or any other thing is just a tool to support your goal. It is not what drives a goal, but it is a tool to support your goal. So the whole thing is done, the whole brainstorming and everything is done outside technology. You've sat down to look at the goal. Is it specific? Good. You tick. Is it achievable? You tick. Is it measurable? You tick. All the way. Time bound, you tick. Then you now look at it. How can I achieve? That is where planning comes in. How can I achieve this goal after I have set the goal? So then you can now start bringing in different tools, which technology becomes one of them. All right. So at the point of setting the goal, technology doesn't come in. For me, technology comes only in planning how to achieve the goal. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So every other factor. So you're going to be looking at different resources available. Who do I need to carry this goal or to pursue this goal? You look at so many things you need when you are trying to be specific on your goal, when you're trying to measure, to be sure if it's measurable, all those things you look at. So when I consider all those factors, then I will know the resources I need after I have set the goal. Organization develop objective, they develop strategic objectives that they now send to the operational section, the operational level in the organization, who now pursue it. That is now the tool they use to drive the strategy. All right? But those are the resources. But at the point of setting it, they are looking at what? What is our vision? What is our mission? What do we want to achieve? What direction were we last year? Where are we now? Where are we going to be next? So when they're thinking about those things, they put the goal there, they put the strategies there, then, they put the objectives there, then they now come into what are the strategies, what are the plan? Then resourcing comes in. So tools do not come before goal setting. Tool come after goal setting.
Okay.
Does that make sense, Ken?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Similolua. Please go ahead.
All right, sir. Good morning, sir.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, sir.
I also want to thank you very much for your time, sir. My question is in terms of flexibility when it comes to goal setting. And so I want to ask because I've read books that classify goal setting into four, where you have urgent and important, not urgent and not important, and the likes. So my question is in terms of flexibility. Sometimes you will have things come in the way when when you've set your goal and when you have a goal to reach. And so how do you manage being flexible? How do you manage attending to those things while still trying to pursue that goal? Because sometimes they may take the whole of your time at a particular instance. So how do you manage that flexibility?
Thank you, similarly. So I'm glad. I think I've stumbled on books also that try to look at urgent, important, just matrix, right? Okay. Let's look at it this way. Like I said, I'm working towards, for example, I'm working towards being an associate professor, all right? Which is, for me, my goal for the next 3 years. In the middle of that, there are other things. So while that is important, there are some urgent goals or achievement that I need to achieve in the process. So now I need to be flexible enough to be able to know how to prioritize the urgent one and also fix a time frame that will not affect the important goal. All right, because when we are, the reason for why do we say flexibility in the first place? It's like what you said. For example, if you're a family man, are you a family man, Similoluwa?
Not, I'm not married yet.
Okay. So, all right. Let's look at your current status, your current career status. Okay. You have other things that are urgent as well to you. It may be developing a family, maybe one of it. It may be before I develop, I need a car. Okay. It may be before I do this, I need this. In the middle of that, all right, that's why I said we live in Olagoke, can you stop writing on the screen, please? In the middle of that, it is more of a macro where you are dwelling in the micro. Do we now say, because this is urgent, no, I am pursuing, like the example I gave, a friend that is a professor who is now struggling to build a relationship, but his life of pursuing his professorship is not affecting his relationship, all right? So as we are going, we should be flexible enough to know what crop up as urgent, use a reasonable time frame that will not in any way affect the important ones, achieve that, and you continue. While I'm trying to pursue something, I'm also developing papers. I'm also, teaching. I'm also doing poster. I'm also carrying my family. I'm doing so many things. I'm also ensuring that my social life is not affected. Those other things will be there, all right, as urgent. I only need to prioritize and fix a time frame to quickly do it, but focus on the important ones. Then the non-important or the non-urgent, I can just do it at my leisure time. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir, it does, sir.
Yeah, so it is important. The core goal is there. Other things will come alongside, but we just use a time frame that is reasonable enough to manage them where we continue. You cannot say because you want to do anything, for example, you don't want to be promoted at your place of work. No, that becomes an important goal which you're pushing for, and other things we carry along. So it is important we are able, and that goes to everybody. It is important we are able, that's why we say write the goals down. It is important you are also able to pencil out which is urgent, which is important, which is not important or not urgent. And that helps you to put a time bound, and that also helps you to prioritize each of these goals as you move on. Any other, I saw someone raise hand earlier on. I think I've answered Ken. I think I've answered Similolu. I think there was another hand which has gone down now. Any other question before we move on? Any other question? Any other question before I move on? Question on goal and goal setting. Personal goal and goal setting. Is it possible to have 2, 3, 4 goals at the same time? Anybody has an idea? Is it possible to have 2, 3, 4 goals at the same time? And at the same time, achieve them? Anyone think it is possible? Do I still have my class with me, or they've gone on shopping? Yes, Bello Stephen, go ahead. Bello Stephen, can we have him on mute, please? Edith, can we have Bello? Yeah, thank
Hello,
you. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, ma'am. It's possible, but depends on how flexible the person can work, because there's something called multitasking, and not everybody can multitask. So if you can't multitask, it's better you set your goals
one at a
in
time.
a way that, yes, ma'am, in a way, yes, sir, in a way that you can achieve it, and that for it not to become something that will overwhelm you at the end of the day.
Yeah,
You'll be unable to achieve anything.
I agree with you. And that goes to the matrix I talked about earlier on, where you're looking at urgent, important, not urgent, and not important. So yeah, prioritize. Thank you, Ben. Ken, go ahead. Ken, go ahead. Can we unmute Ken? Or can I go, Ken? Can you permit me to go to people that have not spoken at all?
Okay. Okay. Hello. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay, I can hear you.
Okay. It's possible
All
for
right.
us to have 3 goals at a time.
Yeah.
But I believe that this goal will not have, each of these goals will not have the same value.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
So, and because they will not have the same value, you attack the one that comes first, while
That
the
comes-
others follow.
Yes. So we note them down based on importance, right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you,
Yes.
Ken. Thank you so much. Let's go to Aborson. Am I correct? Aborson, please, can we have him on mute? And Olawale next. Aborson, can we unmute him? And Olawale next. I have 3 minutes. Aborson and Olawale next. Edith?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Olawale. Go ahead.
This is Funsho.
Okay, Funsha, hold on. Olawale, can we go from you? Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for the teaching. I just want to ask, I sent a question on the chat room,
Sorry.
but let me,
I wasn't reading it.
For a while now, I've been trying to establish an organization, a company.
Yes.
So I just want to have that. Are there tools or softwares that can help an organization, a company, to track measures and analyze the goals for effective results? So I just want to know.
Olawale,
Because you say you started a company.
Yeah. All right, good. I don't think, in my own knowledge, all right, Orlando is the guru of technology, but I don't think when it comes to goal setting, tools or technology comes first. No. Technology is a tool that helps you to drive your goal. All right. So the first thing you need to do is do your proper assessment. Look at the macro and the micro environment of that business. Look at your competition. What value are you offering to the people? And what value do you intend to get back? Because value is two ways. So you look at all these things. Technology is not, I mean, for me, it's nothing to talk about when we are setting goals. It's a resource that we need to drive the goal, but it is not a tool we need in setting our goals. Though you can say, why not? But I use computer to type the goals out. Yeah, but computer they will not help you to think through the environment your business is going to be. It's not going to help you to think through the competition in that environment. It's not going to help you to think through the financial environment or requirement that you need for that business and every other things. All right. So technology is not the thing. It's about you sitting down and doing a proper assessment of the business. What do I want to do? Who do I want to target? How do I reach this target? And it goes on and on and on. It might be something you want to take further after this class. Like I said, anyone who wants to take any conversation further can book through Edith. I'll be available to have a chat on that. And I think Orlando is another good person you can talk to in this regard.
Okay.
All right.
Great.
My time is fast spent. I will do just one more. Who is that? Where is he? Where is he? It's gone. It's gone. Okay, Donald, you get it. You get the mic. Fusha, I'm so sorry. I just want to give people that have not spoken priority. Okay, I'm so sorry. Donald, are you able to talk now? Abdustin has gone, so Donald, go ahead.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Henry. So, just to answer this, everyone, it's possible, yeah, definitely possible to have multiple goals and all that. So it's all dependent on the plan that you have set for yourself. The key thing about it is that multiple goals keeps you motivated and also helps you to be focused. But it is better to prioritize each of these goals that you are trying to embark on, and also set a plan. That plan will keep you going, and the plan will give you a roadmap on how to achieve it.
I agree with you, Donald. And it's also important that, because we said earlier on that you when you're carving your goal or creating your goal, you create small goals, because all this little success helps you to go for a bigger one as well. So it is important we consider the smaller ones while we go for the bigger one. Then finally, I will go for Funshaw and I'll tap out. Finally, Funshaw John, finally. Funshaw John, finally.
Yes, I just want to also give some contributions around having multiple goals.
All right.
In the reality is that you can only have one vision for life, but you can have quite a number of goals. It depends on various aspects of your life. You can set marital goals, financial goals.
Yes.
Okay, you can set political goals, career goals, business goals.
Yes.
However, to sum it up, you must, as an individual, you should have one vision. Probably you want to be a person of influence. You want to be knowledgeable. You want to be a problem solver. Those are vision, of course, and those visions must be actually a long term. But be that it may, all your vision must accommodate quite a number of goals, because there are quite a number of areas that influence your life. And for each of those basic major divisions of your life, there must be a goal that must be set around them. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Absolutely agree with you. All right, thank you guys. It's been an interesting time sharing this hour with you. Thank you, Edith, for inviting me to do this. So I will tap out at this moment. Thank you so much. My time is gone. All right, enjoy the rest of your lesson today and have a fun field day. Thank you. Edith, you can take over from here.
All right. Thank you very much for that educative session on personal vision and goal setting. And it's been an interesting class. And thank you to everyone who have contributed with your questions, contributions, and all. Thank you very much. So thank you very much, Doctor, for joining us. We are grateful. So round of applause in the chat room as we appreciate Dr. Henry for his time with us this morning. Okay, yeah, we're supposed to go for a quick coffee break or just to get a glass of water, but it's been a good time. So we'll move straight to the next session, and let me share my screen briefly. Okay. All right, so we'll be introducing the next trainer this afternoon to take us on ISO 9001. His name is Mr. Bolaji Oyekon. Mr. Bolaji is an IT audit analyst with profound professional experience in the implementation and supervision of several management system standards. He has an extensive background in problem solving, communication, and time management, as well as an immense drive to make a difference. He executes IT audits and processes ensure compliance with established standards and detecting gaps in providing appropriate remedial solutions. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put a round of applause in the chat room as we welcome Mr. Bolaji Oyekon. Mr. Bolaji, you can take it up from here. Thank you for joining us in class this morning. Boma, can you please make him a co-host to be able to share his screen? Bolaji, can you hear me, please? Are you there? Please confirm if you can hear me.
Good morning.
Okay.
Yes, good morning, Edith. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Thank you very much, Edith, for this profound opportunity to share the little I know, right, in ISO 9001, as the case may be. So give me a minute as I share my screen. Can you hear me? Can anyone on the call hear me? Can you hear me? Can anyone on the call hear me clearly? Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad. Yeah, good morning, everybody. Good morning. Just give me a bit, then I share my screen, then we'll pick it up from there. Yes. So I'm sure you can see my screen right now. Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen? Anybody?
Yes, we can. Yes,
yeah.
we can see your screen.
I'm glad you can see my screen. So yeah, we'll be walking through this together. There will be opportunity for you to ask your questions, the opportunity for you to make your own contribution in form of question, as I've said, right? Okay, so I wouldn't know if anybody has come across ISO 9001 before on any platform, but ISO 9001 is what we call quality management system. Basically, it's quality management system, and this is being developed by International Organization for Standardization across the globe, basically. So it's a management system that helps us to do a whole lot of things, and it is quality management system. Another word for ISO 9001 is QMS. QMS, as the case may be, right?
Mr. Bolaji, sorry,
yes,
your screen is very small. Okay, it's bigger now. Maybe you can.
I'm sure. Is it bigger? Is it bigger?
Yes,
is it better?
Okay, good. It's better now.
Okay, beautiful. That's nice. Thank you very much for that. Okay, so as I was saying, right, another word or another name you can give to ISO 9001 is the QMS, which is Quality Management System in itself. We'll briefly be running through these things in the few minutes that we'll have in front of us, and I'm sure that at the end of the session, we'll all be professionals, so to say, in that line. We'll all have something to say, as the case may be, when it comes to ISO 9000, ISO 9001 family, as the case may be. And so we'll be running through this in a bit. Introduction to Quality Management System concept as required by ISO 9001, right? So what is ISO 9000? This is, as I said earlier on, it's developed by the International Organization for Standardization. And also that is where they brought the word ISO. They have thousands of it, as the case may be. They have ISO 27001, 22301, 20,000, 45001, and so on and so forth. But for this particular session, we'll be dealing with this because it actually applies to a whole lot of things. Any organization, any individual, business entity, as the case may be, even what you call religious organization can implement ISO 9001 and have an insight into ISO 9000, as the case may be, right? So a family of standard and guidelines that set requirements for assurance of quality. That is the essence of QMS, right? That's the essence of ISO 9000 in the organization. They want to see the assurance of quality, and management involvement in an organization, so to say. So to ensure product and services are consistent with their intended purpose. We're not just making products, right? We're not just creating services. We're not just creating those things out there. They need to be they need to actually meet the intended purpose. So if we're talking about purpose in itself, that now you can narrow that down to individual organization, the set goal, what's the outcome or output to be at the end of the day, right? What is the essence of this ISO 9001, as the case may be? We're talking about achieving customer satisfaction. We want to ensure that customers are actually satisfied, at the end of the day. That is the essence of ISO 9001. You want to ensure that your customers, whether you have a product that you're marketing, whether you have a service that you are rendering to people out there, you want to ensure, right? You want to ensure that everybody, customers, they are satisfied with your product, with your service. That is the essence of it. So if we are talking about ISO 9000, ISO 9001, you're talking QMS in itself, you're talking about customer focused. You're talking about how your customers will be satisfied. So if you are in any business organization, even if you are a self-made person, when it comes to maybe let's say you're an entrepreneur, this is what you actually need to look into. How do you satisfy your customer, as the case may be? Then we're talking about continual improvement of performance and competitiveness. Putting ISO 9000 in place, right, it will ensure that you have this edge above every other person. There is always this competitiveness, that edge that it gives you when you are in the market, when you are in the marketplace, as the case may be. You always strive, to ensure that there's continual improvement of performance delivery, and everything that surrounds it in the organization. Same thing again, it's talking about processes, the product and services. There's always room for continual improvement. So we had a particular session where they're talking about a whole lot of these things, and you believe that maybe as an entrepreneur you've arrived, you've actually dotted all your I's and crossed all your T's and all of that. There is always room for continual improvement in the organization, for your processes, for your products, for the services that you provide. As a person, as an organization, as an individual, there is always a room for continual improvement, right? And ISO 9001 also, it helps you to comply, with regulatory requirements. It helps you to comply with regulatory requirements. it helps you to comply with regulatory requirement. There's a body that ensure that this your product that you put out there, the services that you render to people, they are actually in line with regulatory requirements. That is what this is all about in itself. Let's go to the next slide, right? So how is ISO 9000 applied? It is not required by government, as the case may be, but it is up to you as an individual, as management, as entrepreneur to follow. So far, you want to ensure that there's continual improvement in your processes, in your services that you render, in products that you put out there. That is what we're talking about. It may also require that suppliers, when the suppliers come out now, they want you to they want to see how compliant you are with the standard. Applying QMS to your operations will help you to improve, continually assessing the effectiveness. You make changes for improvement, conduct audits, submit to third-party audit, submit to new registrations every 3 years. All these ones, this is how ISO 9001 is being applied, as the case may be. But nevertheless, we still have time for our questions, and this is just scratching the surface, as the case may be. We'll still delve into it in itself. Talking about organization registration, more credibility in the world marketplace, when people know you, when organizations know you, individual business owners, when they know you, they know what you have as an organization. They know that you're an entrepreneur that is always in line with ISO 9001, as the case may be. You have more credibility in the marketplace, more credibility. They know that you are certified. They know that you follow through with the processes, the procedures in line with ISO 9000 and ISO 9001. You are more credible in the marketplace. People tend to come to you for to get your product. People come, they tend to come to you for you to come and offer your services to them at every point in time, right? Conforming organizational steps, develop a quality manual that gives assurance of quality products and services. These are the routine things that you need to put in place in your organization. As an entrepreneur, as an individual, right? These are the things you need to put in place, because we're talking about documentation of procedures or how everything in your organization, in your business will be operated. That is what we're talking about. So every procedure, right? Every process, everything that you do, ISO 9001 is talking about all your processes. What do you want to achieve at the end of the day? Quality. If you want to achieve quality at the end of the day, we're talking about documenting everything. Follow through with what you have put in place in the organization. That is what we're talking about. You secure top management's commitment to the QMS and continual improvement. Customer requirements that determine they are met. That is another essence of QMS, right, in the organization. You want to ensure these are the requirements of customers. Have you determined them? There's something in my own line of work when we're, I'm an auditor, as the case may be, and what we look out for at every point in time, how as an organization or how as business individual, determine their requirements, determine customer requirements. That is why you can give to any business owner, this is what I want you to develop for me. This is the kind of service I want you to render, as the case may be. You give feedback forms and all of those things to ensure that you get all the customer requirements, you get them determined, you understand their requirements before you can actually render those services or before you can give out the products that we're talking about. So if registering, they must hire an accredited registrar. This is when you want to get certified and all of that. Conduct its own internal audit at an organization. So how do you assess yourself at every point in time, right? In your business, in your organization, as an individual. External audit also, this must be put in place. It's not enough for you to implement ISO 9001. When we're talking about continual improvement, how do you get your improvements if you are not being audited, whether internal or by an external party in itself, as the case may be. Let's go ahead. Still have a lot to touch, but we'll ensure to work within the time frame. Organizational benefits, mentioned some ahead, provides confidence to the customer, right? They know that you have ISO 9001 in operation in your organization. They know that you've implemented it. They know that your processes are well structured. You have actually highlighted everything that you need to do as an organization. This gives your customer confidence. It gives your customer confidence and the organization that it can provide products and services consistently in line with the requirements, right? That it's not that your products are coming in without an appropriate timing to hit. They know when your products are coming out. They know how you render your services. They know that you're top notch. You do quality assurance at every point in time. It gives your customer confidence. Cost risk management also, it improves competitiveness. I mentioned that earlier on. Customer benefits, meets requirements, competitive price, increased confidence in products, expectation of quality, right? These are still a scratch on the surface. We'll soon get into it in itself now. When we're now talking about definition, purpose, and benefits of QMS in the organization, want to see what the definition of QMS is, want to see the purpose and the benefits of QMS, also ISO 9001 in the organization, right? The first one here is talking about a collection of policies, procedures, plans, resources, processes, practice. All of these terms are very, very big. They are very big. As we have implemented QMS in your organization, we're talking about collection of policy. We're talking about collection of procedures, your plans for training, plans for requirements gathering, your resources that you have highlighted, whether it is technical resource, whether it is human resource, whether it is facility, and so on and so forth. Have you highlighted these things? There's a collection of all of these things, processes, practices as an organization, as an individual, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur that you have, right? And the specification of responsibilities and authorities of an organization designed to achieve product and service quality levels. Please note the word quality levels, customer satisfaction, and company objective. We're not producing products because we just need to produce them. We're not rendering services because of money that we want to do. Anyway, money is involved, but we're talking about customer satisfaction. We're talking about our product and services meeting the company objectives at every point in time, right? We're talking about giving quality, top-notch services, top-notch products out there to people. So quality management system is talking about collection of all of these policies. How do you want to ensure that customers are satisfied? How do you want to ensure that your product and services meet company requirements and objectives? How do you want to ensure that the services that you are providing, they are actually top-notch, they are at quality level? You need to bring all together this collection of policies, plans, procedure, resources. All of these things must be well stated. They must be well highlighted, right? You must have processes, documented processes, documented procedure, practices, policies are involved too, right? A quality management system is a formalized system that documents processes. I mentioned that there's no way what is not written, you don't know them. There's an adage they usually say, the faintest ink is better than the sharpest brain, as the case may be. A quality management system is a formalized system that documents processes. This thing must be documented. They must be written. They must be documented, stored. Documents, processes, procedures, and responsibilities. We can't take away the place of what people will do at every point in time. And that is why responsibilities are to come into place. A quality management system is a formalized, note those words, formalized system that document processes for your services that you are rendering, right? For your product that you are giving people out there, that you are putting out there for marketing and all of that. It's a formalized system that documents the processes, the procedures, how you carry out your tasks, and responsibility for achieving quality objectives and policies. A QMS, quality management system, remember, it helps you to coordinate and direct an organization's activity. When you have it in place, all your activities are well coordinated. They are coordinated. Your system, your policy, your plans, your procedures, your resources, they are all coordinated. They are working as a system. It helps to coordinate and direct an organization's activity to meet customer and regulatory requirements and improve its effectiveness and efficiency on a continuous basis. Right? Let's go on. We'll still get more insight to it as we go on. Purpose of QMS. What is the purpose of QMS? We've mentioned it when we started. We're talking about improving processes. So quality management system will help you to understand the processes that you now use as an organization. But when we're talking about quality management system, remember we mentioned continual improvement, right? Continual improvement to your processes, continual improvement to the services that you deliver, continual improvement to the products that you produce. Facilitating and identifying training opportunities. We mentioned earlier on responsibility, right? Those are responsibility when you're talking about quality management system. How do you identify gaps? How do you identify competence gap of individual people that you're using in the organization? So the purpose of QMS, facilitating and identifying training opportunities, engaging employees, setting organization-wide direction. It gives organization direction. It gives organization direction. When you have it implemented, when you have it documented, there's where to go. You have direction. You know where you are going to. We're not confused as an organization. You're not confused as an entrepreneur. You're not confused as a business owner of what you need to do. What are the benefits of quality management system, right? What are the benefits of quality management system? Implementing a quality management system affects every aspect of an organization's performance. There's no two way to this. The organizations that are striving out there, the organization that are making money out there, the organization that are top of your charts, on the top of your head, as you are listening right now, at one point in time, they must have implemented quality management system. Meeting the customer requirements, we mentioned that, which helps to install confidence in the organization, in the heart of customer, in turn leading to more customers, more sales, more repeat businesses, more links out for you there. What helps people that are getting more businesses, right? More business opportunity, more money into the account, as the case may be, is because customers are satisfied. Customers are satisfied with their service delivery. Customers are satisfied with what they do at every point in time. Customers are satisfied with their product, right? Meeting the organization's requirements, we mention this. In as much as you are meeting customers' requirement, everything that you're doing, your product, your service is in line with the organization requirements and objectives. So meeting the organization's requirements, which ensures compliance with regulations and provision of product and services. Most cost and resource efficient manner, creating room for expansion, growth, and profits. All of these things are considered. These are the benefits of quality management system, right? We've mentioned this earlier on. What is ISO 9001? It's just a standard. It's a standard, as the case may be, but very, very big standard. As an organization, you are rendering service, you have a product out there, this ISO 9001 will help you, right, to set out the requirement for quality delivery in the organization. Quality delivery of your product, quality delivery of your service. So ISO 9001 is not only particular about maybe service alone, it also centers around products. So that means there's no two way to it. Whatever you're doing right now is either you are giving out product or you are rendering service. And it is very, very important. It helps businesses and organizations to be more efficient and improve customer satisfaction. You will see everything that we've been discussing since morning centers around improve customer satisfaction, more efficient in the organization, meeting customer requirements, customer needs, ensuring that it meets the organization requirements and objectives as the case may be. And this ISO 9001, this is, you see 2015 version. It has evolved. Every now and then we have 2018 version. The latest one we have right now is 2015, which is the new version. Might not be new, that is why you're not seeing the 2022 version. It's 2015 that it was commissioned and launched, right, to replace the previous version, which was 2008. Again, this is for our understanding, right? This is for our understanding. ISO 9001 is suitable for organization of all types, sizes, and sector. I mentioned this earlier on. There is no small organization that cannot implement ISO 9001. There is no single organization that cannot implement. Any organization, any sector, any sizes is suitable for organization of all types, all sizes, right? And all sector. In fact, one of the key improvements of the newly revised 2015 was to make it more applicable and accessible to all types of enterprise. So whether you are in manufacturing, whether you are in construction, in service delivery, financial industry, religious, as the case may be, and so on. This is applicable to you. There is no two ways to this. Smaller companies do not have staff dedicated to quality, can still enjoy the benefits of implementing the standards. And ISO has many resources to assist them. Many resources to assist them, right? Let's move on. ISO 9001 and process approach. So ISO 9001, I mentioned it earlier on, it ensures that every process, right? Every process is taken note of. Every process is quality. Every process that you do in your organization, on the top of your head as you're listening to this, if you are delivering any product, maybe you are you make pastries and all of that. Every process that you engage in, we're talking about quality. Every process, from making the fire to the final delivery of the pastry, as the case may be. It will enable people to come back to you, enable people, customer, come back to you. That is the idea of quality management system. The international standard employs the process approach, which incorporates the plan, do, check, act, PCDA cycle, and risk-based thinking. We'll still talk about the high-level structure. We'll talk about the clauses involved, because this PDCA cycle is talking about how all the clauses in the standard for ISO 9001 is incorporated. P stands for plan, D is for do, C is for check, and A is for act. Right? Plan encompasses clauses 4, 5, 6, 7. Don't worry, we'll still talk about it. Clause 4 talks about context of the organization. Clause 5 talks about leadership. Clause 6 talks about planning. Clause 7 talks about support. And when you're talking about the do now, which is the operation in itself. It's a big and a massive thing. That is when you do, from that word, do, plan, do. It talks about the operation of your services, the operation of your products. And when you talk about check, you're talking about performance evaluation. You're talking about performance evaluation. How do you check? How do you check that what you have implemented? How do you check all your processes? That is when we begin to talk about how you measure your objective, how you measure your metrics that you've set in line with your product or your services that you are rendering. And when we talk about hacks, which is clause 10, it talks about continual improvement. We've mentioned this. The process approach enables an organization to plan its processes and their interaction. The PCDA cycle enables an organization to ensure that its processes are adequately resourced and managed. One of the few things that ISO 9001 does is that it helps you to manage the resources well. It helps you to manage the resources well in a way that there will be no waste. PCDA cycle enables an organization to ensure that its processes are adequately resourced and managed, and that opportunities for improvement are determined and acted upon. So risk-based thinking enables an organization to determine the factors that could cause its processes and its quality management system to deviate from the planned results, to put in place preventive controls, to minimize negative effects, and to make maximum use of opportunities as they arise. Risk-based thinking. It enables an organization to determine the factors that could cause its processes to break down or to deviate from the initial planned objective, as the case may be. How you want your product to end up at the end of the day, to come out, how you want to render your service, the end product. And so you begin to have a risk-based thinking approach to ensure that all of these things work together and we can prevent the negative result, the negative effect, the negative outcome that can come into place. And we ensure that you put in place and you maximize your opportunities as they arise. Let's go ahead. The process approach framework. I still have a slide by the side to briefly run us through, but this is robust, but I'll still come to that. ISO 9001 promotes the adoption of a process approach. I mentioned that ISO 9001 is talking about all the processes, right? All the processes in the organization. So ISO 9001 promotes the adoption of a process approach when developing, implementing, and improving the effectiveness of QMS to enhance customer satisfaction. We have said this time and time again, right? Understanding and managing interrelated processes as a system contributes to the organization effectiveness and efficiency. So for clause 4.4 talks about quality management system and its processes. There is a requirement that talks about processes, that talks about interrelated processes, that talks about interaction and all of that. So here we're talking about how your processes are interrelated, how your processes interact with one another. When we audit, most of the time we look at, okay, we look at and we tell organizations that we are not here to audit the organization based on the fact that maybe we are EFCC individuals, but we want to see your documentation, right? Whether it is in line with what you practice as an organization. You see, as an individual, you have set goals and all of that, but at the end of the day, you tend not to follow them. So your processes that you have documented, your processes that you have that you've highlighted, that you've developed in a way, you need to follow them through. We need to follow them, and it must interact with each other. A process cannot be a standalone process. It must interact with another process. So understanding and managing interrelated processes as a system contributes to the organization effectiveness, efficiency in achieving its intended results. This approach enables the organization to control the interrelationship and interdependencies among the processes of the system, so that the overall performance of the organization can be enhanced. So whether you're talking about your processes, if you're talking about relationship amidst departments, amidst units, you need to understand that these processes that you have developed, it must interact. There should be an interaction. Let's go to this figure 1, talks about sources of inputs, talks about activities, output, receivers of output. This gives a schematic representation of any process and shows the interaction of each element, the monitoring and measuring checkpoints, which are necessary for control and are specific to each process, will vary depending on the related risk. We'll still have more to discuss around this, but because of our time, let's move on. Let's move on. We mentioned PCDA cycle the other time. It's PDCA, plan, do, check, act. Here I'm saying PCDA cycle, but yeah, the understanding is that P is for planning, right? C is what we call check. Do is what we call is for operation, which is clause 8. And A is for acting. When we talk about continual improvement, I mentioned this earlier on. And this figure, this picture depicts every possible thing that we're talking about since morning. Right, you see customer requirement very close to that planning, which is planning clause 6. You see product and services, customer satisfaction, pointing to performance evaluation at every point in time. You see needs and expectation of relevant interested parties. How do you plan for them? Let's move ahead. The PDCA cycle relationship with ISO 9001, right? The PCDA cycle can be briefly described as follows. I mentioned that the other time, but here I think we have to explain it as the case may be. Plan, establish the objectives of the system and its processes and the resources needed to deliver results in accordance with customer requirements and organizations' policy, and identifying and addressing risk and opportunities. I mentioned earlier on plan. When we talk about QMS, quality management system in the organization, we're talking about the clauses 4 to 10. Clause 4 stands for context of the organization. That is where you begin to establish the objective. That is in clause 6. When you begin to establish the mission, the vision of the organization in clause 4, clause 5 talks about leadership and its commitment. All of these processes must be clearly highlighted. Then we talk about resources. There's nothing you want to do if there's no resource. Resource is a very big thing, whether it is resource allocation, even provision of resource in itself. How do you ensure that resources, the resources are evenly distributed amidst these processes? They are needed for result delivery, points result delivery that must be in accordance with customer requirements and the organization policy. You have a policy in the organization, is in line with what you are doing at the end of the day. Are you following it through? When you talk about do, you talk about implement what was planned. You have planned something. That is when we planning and changes and all of those things. I'll still show you during the course of this few minutes that we have left what I mean by plan, do, check, act. The clauses involved and all of that. Check. Monitor and measure processes and resulting product and services against policies, objectives, requirements, and planned activities, and report the results. There's something we call MMAE under clause 9. It is 9.1. Monitoring, measuring, analysis, and evaluation. We want to see how you have monitored. We want to see how you want to measure, want to see how you are doing your analysis, and how you want to evaluate all your processes against the objectives that you have developed in the first place. It's not as if the objectives is coming from somewhere else, but you have developed your objectives in the first place, and you have done the operation part. Now we want to check whether your operation is in line with your objectives. So monitor and measure processes and resulting product and services against your own policies as an organization, as an entrepreneur, right? As a business owner, as an individual. You want to ensure that all your processes are in line. You want to check whether they are in line with your objectives. And when you talk about hacks, take actions to improve performance. So when you are checking, it is possible that you fall short at one point or the other. Maybe you have not followed the prescribed policy, you have not followed the prescribed objectives that you have actually developed. So how do you take action to improve on them? That is where the hack comes in. Whether you are actually in line, and even the people that are in line with whatever they've developed themselves, there's something we call maturity level at every point in time. And that is why you see big company out there surviving every now and then. So they were successful last year, they were successful 10 years ago, they were successful 20 years ago, and they keep developing, rebranding, and getting things right at every point in time. What have they put in place? What is it that they are doing differently as an organization? They are taking actions to always improve their performance at every necessary minute, at every necessary time, in every of their processes. That is what they have put in place. Let's go to our risk-based thinking quickly. Risk-based thinking is essential for achieving an effective quality management system. The concept of risk-based thinking has been implicit in previous edition of the international standard. I remember I mentioned there was this 2008 version before they now launched the 2015 version. For example, carrying out preventive action to eliminate potential non-conformities, analyzing any non-conformities that do occur, and taking action to prevent recurrence that is appropriate for effect of the non-conformity. So even, okay, let's cite an example. In my line of work, when we audit, when we look at the gaps that you have as an organization, as the case may be, we look at whether you have conformed to the requirement of the standard. At every point in time, if we discover that you have a non-conformity, that is when you're falling short in a particular area. You're not doing what you need to do or what you have set yourself to do as an organization, as an individual. Then you have a non-conformity, that you are not conforming to what is stated, what is required. Then how do you ensure that you prevent this reoccurrence? We talk about root cause analysis. How do you ensure that you trace it back to what is really the problem? What is really the problem of this non-conformity that was raised, right? What is really the problem? That is when I mentioned earlier on, you have your non-conformity. Non-conformity is not a crime, because a lot of people run away from the word non-conformity, but it's simply telling you that, no, you are not doing something right here. That's all. So what do you want to put in place to ensure that those things are not brought back and they are following the requirements of the standard? That is when I was talking about root cause analysis. You want to trace back what is the problem of this. Then you bring about correction. How do I correct this? Then there is now corrective action. How do I put in place corrective action so that this same problem will not manifest again? This same problem will not come out to be a non-conformity the next time you are being audited, the next time you are being assessed, the next time you are checking yourself, as the case may be. To conform to the requirements of this international standard, quality management system, right? An organization needs to plan and implement actions to address risk and opportunities. How do you address your risk and opportunity? You need to plan for it. You need to implement for it. There should be clear-cut actions, clear-cut things that you have put in place to ensure that all your risk and opportunities are addressed. Addressing both risk and opportunities establishes a basis for increasing the effectiveness of quality management system. So when you address these risks and opportunities that we're talking about, it increases the effectiveness of QMS in your organization. It ensures that you improve your results at every point in time. And at every point in time where you ensure that your risks and opportunities are addressed, it prevents negative effect, negative outcome. It prevents it. Let's move on. And this is a continuation of what we're talking about. Opportunities can arise as a result of a situation favorable to achieve an intended result. For example, a set of circumstances that allow the organization to attract customers, develop new product and service, reduce waste, or improve productivity. Actions to address opportunities can also include consideration of associated risk. And as defined here, risk is the effect of uncertainty. Risk is uncertainty in itself. So a positive deviation arising from a risk can provide an opportunity, but not all positive effects of risk result in opportunities. When you have risk-based thinking, look at this small diagram here. You identify the risk in the organization. You identify the risk in your business as an entrepreneur, or identify the risk, then you analyze it. Then you prioritize these risks. Then you mitigate them. Then you control those risks so that you have a favorable outcome and a favorable result at the end of the day. All this, the identification of the risks, the analysis of the risks, how you prioritize your risk, whether you want to mitigate your risk or accept or whatever you have to do, or you want to avoid it, at the end of the day, it brings about a positive outcome. But note, all your risk must be identified. If you don't identify your risk at the end of the day, then I must tell that you're joking around, as the case may be. These are the principles of quality management system. Principles, right, of quality management system. I'll soon share a slide that I explain this: customer focus, leadership, engagement of people, process approach, improvement, evidence-based decision-making, relationship management, right? So let me quickly share my slide that I have to explain these principles of quality management system. Then we move ahead from there. Just give me a bit. Yeah. Can you see my screen? Anybody? Can I get a response? Can you give me a thumbs up or something if you can see my screen, so that I'll be sure that we're on the same page?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Thank you very much. I've mentioned this earlier on. I don't want to go back to that because of the time that we have, as the case may be. I've mentioned this also. It ensures consistent quality in product and services. It enhances customer satisfaction, improves organization efficiency. These are the 7 principles I just mentioned, right? These are the explanations that I had to break down so that we'll get the understanding of what the 7 principles are all about. So at the heart of quality management system is the core of meeting customer requirements and striving to exceed the public's expectation. I mentioned earlier on that it is customer focused, right? Quality management system is customer focused. You want to ensure that you meet customer requirements. These are the 7 principles of quality management system you can't do without. And leadership. Successful leaders establish a unified sense of purpose and direction. There's always organization culture wherever you want to, or wherever you're working as a business individual, business owner, and entrepreneur. There's always organizational culture that will enable every employee, every individual, every staff in the organization, right, to always ensure that they follow through. When they follow through, then the employees will flourish, then there will be motivation, there will be professional satisfaction, there will also be direction in the organization. When there is leadership and all these things are put in place, the purpose, the objectives, there will definitely be direction. There will be direction. When we talk about engagement, inspiring and empower people at all levels is essential to the value delivery process. That is what the engagement is all about. Customer focus, leadership, engagement, process approach. I mentioned it's all about your processes. We want you to see, we want to ensure that every of your processes are documented. Every of your processes have clear-cut procedures, as the case may be. You have policies that support what you do as an individual, as a business owner, right? And that is what needs to be, that is what all of those things that you need to put in place as an individual. You have to ensure that these processes are documented and they relate with each other. There's no process that is a standalone process. So a well-structured, coherent system is an effective container in which consistent and predictable results can be effectively and efficiently achieved. Process approach is talking about managing the activities and resources as interrelated processes. We mentioned improvements. This is a continuous dedication to always improve, definitely. And if you're talking about sustained growth, sustainability in your organization, then you must be willing to improve at every point in time, whether you are delivering product or whether you are rendering service to people, to organization, even to the immediate society out there. Then we're talking about evidence-based decision-making. So as an auditor, what we go out there to check at every point in time is what you have as an organization. The evidence is not enough to see documents alone. As I mentioned earlier on, there should be an alignment between your documents and your processes. There must be an alignment between your processes and what? And the way you carry out the products that you're delivering or the services that you are rendering. There must be a sync, right? And we are talking about, we want to see a reliable data, reliable document, reliable evidence to ensure that these things are actually in place in your organization. Then relationship management, the process of building strong, clear, and mutual beneficial relationship with all stakeholders and interested parties lays the foundation of sustained success. It helps you to manage your relationship well with people, with your staff, with everybody out there, establishing and maintaining beneficial relationship with stakeholders. QMS will help you to do that. I mentioned something earlier on that when you're talking about QMS, be talking about customer survey and all of that, we're still scratching all of these things on the head. It's so big and massive. But at the end of the day, we're talking about ensuring that all your processes are documented and you are focused on ensuring that customers are satisfied and you meet customer requirement as the case may be. It is a high-level structure thing. I mentioned that earlier on. Context of the organization is clause 4, leadership is clause 5, planning is clause 6. That is when you begin to talk about the objectives, various objectives that you want to use that you want to achieve at the end of the day in your organization. How you have planned these objectives. Are there tasks that is attached to all of these objectives? So it's not enough for you to create an objective. We're talking about, do you have tasks that is assigned to each of these objectives for you to be able to achieve them at the end of the day? And how do you want to monitor these objectives? What is the timeline? Are you talking about 2 years objectives that you want to measure? Are you talking about 6 months? Are you talking about 1 year? Are you talking about 2 months? As the case may be, there should be timeline to these objectives. You're not creating objectives for eternity, no. And how do you intend to support this thing? That is when we begin to talk about resources, right? I mentioned resources earlier on, whether it is human resource, whether it is infrastructure, whether it is assets, whether it is financial, as the case may be, there should be support at the end of the day. Human resource, we're talking about, have you built, do you have staffs that have that competence enough in the organization to carry out this task that has been assigned to them? Operation is clause 8. That is where you have actually done everything that you have planned for, right? Performance evaluation is talking, I mentioned MMAE the other time, monitoring, measuring, analyzing, and evaluation. I mentioned the other time, we're talking about internal audits, we're talking about management review. How have you ensured that the performance are evaluated? Are you even evaluating your performance in the organization? Then we're talking about improvements. You need to, it's for sustainability in your organization, as an individual, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur. You need to ensure that your business is sustainable. How do you want to do that? By improving on a daily basis, right? I mentioned this is context of the organization, clause 4. This is clause 5, top management and commitment. There's nothing you want to do in the organization without the commitment of the leadership, right? So you must always seek, right? Seek the leadership commitment in the organization. And how do you do this? By creating processes, by ensuring that your policies are achieved, by ensuring that your staffs are well trained and they know what they are doing, by giving employees, staff roles, responsibilities, authorities, planning. I mentioned this earlier on, action to address risks and opportunities. There should be quality objectives and planning to achieve them. It's not enough to see risk and opportunities. You need to address them. You need to take action so that these risks will not go out of hand. Are they well curbed? Then planning to ensure that all your quality objectives are achieved. Then how do you plan your changes in the organization? You need to have a procedure for this or a policy. You need to have a tracking record. Then during this year, how did we achieve this change? We're talking about asset change, we're talking about people change, we're talking about infrastructure change, we're talking about authority change. Based on what you have implemented in your policy or procedure or planning of changes, you need to monitor all of these things. Then support, I mentioned, people, infrastructure, the environment for the operation of processes is part of the resource, right? Competence, awareness, communication. And this is the operation. This is the heart itself for quality management system in the organization, operational planning and control. There's something we call SOP in the organization, standard operating procedure. Every unit should have all of these things. For every of these units, we should have clear-cut processes for every of these units or every of these departments. And how do we ensure that they are well controlled and planned for? How do you ensure that those processes are achieved? That is what we want to see in your SOP. That is what we want to see in what you are doing as a unit. Then requirements for product and services. How do you design your product? How have you designed your service that you render there? And the development. Then control of externally provided processes, products, and services. How do you ensure that all your suppliers, all your third parties, you are in control of them, you are assessing them, you are doing a due diligence to ensure that they deliver good product and service for you? Production and service provisioning, how do you have control around this? The release of product and services. Before you can release a product and service, has it gone through the quality check? Have you ensured that every of your I's are dotted and every of your T's are crossed? Have you ensured that? How do you control your non-conforming outputs? At the end of the day, when people say this product is bad, this is the defect that we notice, how do you control the non-conforming output? At the end of the day, when they give you feedback and they tell you that the service that you rendered, there's something that didn't go right at the end of the day, how do you ensure that you correct this, right? And I mentioned MMAE the other time: monitoring, measurement, analysis, and evaluation, internal audit, management review. This clause 9 is basically talking about the evaluation in itself from end to end. From top to bottom, you want to monitor, you want to measure what you've done so far, you want to analyze it, and how do you evaluate it? Internal audit, checking the gaps, checking whether you are in line with requirements of the standard ISO 9001 in this situation. The management review, whether you have analyzed well, whether you've done your internal audits, all those things will still go back to management review, the leadership of the organization. Have they reviewed it? Your risk, you need to let them know the status of the risk, the status of internal audit. Are your objectives, are they achieved? The supplier or the third party that you are having, what is the report you are giving back to the management at the end of the day? That is what we call management review. They need to give a feedback to the management as an individual, as a business owner, right? And this is improvement, non-conformity, and corrective action. The plan around this, the procedure around this, do you have a tracking record? How do you track your non-conformity? So 2 years ago, we ensure probably we have 10 non-conformity. Last year, okay, we've closed all this non-conformity. Now we have maybe 1 or 2, as the case may be. Then you talk about continual improvement. In clause 4, we talk about maybe weaknesses of the organization, the issues that we're facing as an organization. Here, you need to talk about what is the continual improvement you are putting in place so that those things will not keep existing, or you curb the effect of it at the end of the day, right? These are the implementation steps, but I'll jump all of that as the case may be because of our time. Benefits of ISO 9001 certification, operational benefits. I noted here there is improved product quality. I've mentioned that earlier on. Increased efficiency. Then you reduce waste as an organization. We went to audit one manufacturing organization some few months ago, and there's a tracking record of how they keep their waste is being corrected, how they reduce waste per time, and the waste is being accounted for, how they reduce waste, and all of that. It is well computerized. Then what is the business benefit? We're talking about enhanced customer satisfaction. This cannot be, you cannot overflow this. There's no escape route for this when you're talking about ISO 9000. It's enhanced customer satisfaction at the end of the day. Increased market opportunities. You have all of your 9001 in place as a business owner, right? I remember I mentioned earlier on, there's no organization of any size that cannot implement ISO 9001. So far, you want to dish out quality out there, right? And it helps you to comply to every regulatory requirement, as the case may be. I'll still come back to these when you have your questions, and I'll still close with these at the end of the day. Right, let's go back to our next slide. Then we'll quickly run through it. Then we'll come back for our questions as the case may be. So if you're talking about this in the organization, ISO 9001, you have to make up your mind, right, that all of these clauses, this is the high level, right, for ISO 9001, clauses 4 to 10. Clause 4, you see understanding the context of the organization, understanding the needs and expectation, determining the scope of the management system and its processes in itself. That is where I was talking about the relationship, the interaction of all of your processes in the organization. You talk about management, you see clause 5 is talking about leadership. As a whole, want to see the leadership and their commitment, want to see policy. An individual cannot create a policy. It is still the work of the leadership of the organization or a business owner, right? And how do you delegate responsibilities, roles? Then have you assigned roles to people and all of that? Then actions to address your risks and opportunities. That is in clause 6. I've mentioned that. And the operation here is big. I'm sure we'll have a good time to talk about it later on, as the case may be. Then 9, I just mentioned it. 10, as the case may be, I mentioned that too. Non-conformities and corrective action. Then continual improvement for organization to be sustainable, for you to keep track of what you are doing in the organization, for you to grow as an individual, business owner, entrepreneur. I keep emphasizing on those 3 words because ISO 9001 can be implemented, right, by any organization. Let's go ahead. See QMS documentation requirement. This is high-level structure. We've mentioned it, the context of the organization, the planning, the leadership, the improvement, operation, performance evaluation, support. This is the high-level structure, right? There's scope, there's normative reference, there's terms and definition, there's context of the organization that we just mentioned, there is leadership, planning, support, operation, performance evaluation, improvement. Then you see the 2008 version before it was before the 2015 version was commissioned and launched for us. You see that a lot has been added to this. You see measurements, analysis, and improvement is all lumped up, whereby measurement analysis alone here, right, is under clause 9 alone, measurement analysis. And improvement here is now a standalone improvement which has 2 subclauses. Management responsibility now is under leadership. Resource management is under support, as the case may be, and all of these other things. So 2015 is so robust. The version of 2015 is so robust to touch all of these key areas. Let's go to our next slide. Establishing and implementing QMS, right? This is planning, establishing context of the organization and gaps, obtain management support. I wouldn't know which organization will go ahead and implement ISO 9001 without the support of the management in the organization. I wouldn't know, really. You need to define and establish QMS scope and business objectives. You need to do that. You need to do that thoroughly in the organization. Define it, make it plain, right? You need to establish it. You need to let people know. You need to define it. You need to establish the scope, the objectives. So there's no thriving business out there that doesn't have a clear-cut objectives, and then they don't have policy, right, to support what they are doing. You need to identify all processes. And when you're talking about processes, you put into consideration all of the departments or units that you have, or every facet of your organization. You need to ensure that these things are identified, right? Identify your risk and opportunities in the process. We've mentioned that you need to establish a plan for achieving the objectives. I mentioned that also. You need to establish communication channels. So that is in the plan. When it comes to operational, conduct and control processes as planned, determine and review requirements. So the requirement for your service delivery, the requirements for your product design and all of that, you need to determine them, review them, re-review them at every point in time. Design, develop, produce, and manage changes. How do you manage changes? How do you design your changes? How do you develop them? I mentioned supply evaluation the other time. Before you can actually bring up, there's something we call supply onboarding. You need to clearly state how you want to onboard your customers, or your suppliers, I mean the third parties, how you want to ensure that they are being evaluated, how you want to select them, how you want to keep re-evaluating them. Then how do you control your non-conforming outputs? We mentioned addressing your risks and opportunities. We mentioned allocate resources and train the staff. Competence, right? Implementing QMS in the organization, or monitor the implementation of QMS in terms of its effectiveness, monitor customer satisfaction, right? Conduct internal audits and management review. I mentioned that earlier on. That is what we talk about when we talk about performance evaluation. That is what we talk about. You conduct audits at every point in time. Some organizations will tell you it is biannually. Some organizations will tell you it is annually. And management review, then prepare for certification audits. That is what we call external audits. When an external individual, external party come to look into your processes and tell you the areas of your improvements, where you're doing well, where you need to improve, and all of that. Continually improve by taking necessary corrective action. I mentioned this as a clear-cut difference between correction and corrective action. Correction is what you do now to correct what is bad. Corrective action is what do you want to put in place to ensure that this same problem will not arise again. Then innovation, action in cases where similar non-conformities exist. That is improvement. These are the implementation phases. Initiate the implementation project. Definitely, we mentioned earlier on, you get management support. This has been mentioned. Establish communication channels and resources. We mentioned identifying your products, identifying your processes, conduct process analysis, and all of that. Then you prepare for necessary documentation, a whole lot of documentation. You need to put them all in place, right? Prepare necessary documentation, implement plans and address risk and opportunities. Conduct a compliance review. That is what we mentioned earlier on when we talk about you want to check the gaps, you want to do your measurements. Then you talk about take necessary corrective and preventive action, successful certification. All of these things must be followed to the letter to ensure that certification at the end of the day is successful. So when we go out there to audit, most of the time, organizations believe that it is automatic for them to get certified. But it's not like that. It doesn't work that way. If the organization is not in line, if their processes is not in line with the requirements of the standard, definitely there will be shortfall, and definitely that will be a non-conformity or opportunity to improve on something that you have in the organization, whether your processes or whatever you have as an organization. These are the things that you need to follow or you need to consider when you're talking about implementation. Plans for achieving objectives should be implemented. Plans for actions to address risk and opportunities should be implemented. You see, these are very, very specific to all of these things. What are the processes that I need to put in place so that all these planned arrangements will be put in their right places? Requirements determined should be reviewed before commitment to the customer. So customer, they have submitted their requirement, they've submitted everything that they need. Have you reviewed them to ensure that, okay, maybe as an organization, you are capable to ensure that this service is well delivered? You need to determine that. Then evaluation, selection, performance, monitoring, and reevaluation to be conducted for external providers. Non-conforming outputs should be controlled. We've mentioned this before. Staff should be made competent, right, to perform work and achieve intended outcome. We saw this the other time, the PDCA cycle. Yeah, this is phase 1, phase 2, 3, 4, PDC objectives, processes, resources delivered to needed to deliver results in accordance with customer requirements and organization policies. I mentioned earlier on that plan had to do with clauses 4, context of the organization, clauses 5, leadership, clause 6 that talks about planning, clause 7 that talks about support. Then phase 2, which is due, is just operation. Phase 3, which is the check, is talking about your continual, your performance evaluation. Then the act is talking about how you want to act on those things that have been evaluated, which is continual improvement, right? Targeted at improving, right? Improving at every point in time. I mentioned something earlier on. Even if you are achieving what you have planned to achieve, there's something we call maturity level at every point in time. What is your sustainability? Right? Thank you very much, everybody. I wouldn't know if there's any question from anybody. The floor is open. Please, you can go ahead and ask your questions. I will be here to answer them, to give you a favorable answer as the case may be. Edith, thank you very much for this opportunity. Please, over to you.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Bolaji, for that very educative session on ISO 9001. So before we attend to those whose hands are up, somebody chatted in the group or asked a question. I think Akin Adedeji. It says, you use ISO 9000 and ISO 9001 interchangeably. Are they the same or on a subject of the other? Or one is a subject of the other?
Oh, okay. So let's trash that out. So ISO 9001, is a family, right? It has ISO 9001 and there's also the guidance part. So basically, let me move away from ISO 9001 a little bit so that you will get the explanation as it is. So we have ISO 27001, right? There's a family of ISO 27001. 27001 is Information Security Management System. We have the guidance document that talks about, that gives basic explanation of each of those things. So ISO 9001 is certifiable. ISO 9001 is a family. I wouldn't know if you get that question. Let me get my explanation rather. Let me know. So ISO 9001 is where you set your objectives, policies, procedures, and you are ready to get certified as an organization. That will help your processes to develop. But ISO 9001 is a family on its own. We have ISO 9001 and other ones. 27001 is 2700 is a family. We have 27001, which is certifiable. So ISO 9001, you will get certification at the end of the day for your organization or for for your organization as a business owner, as the case may be, which is certifiable. I want to emphasize on that word. It is certifiable. You get certified to that. You have specific requirements that you have to follow. And that is why I mentioned it is certifiable. Right? I wouldn't know if you get that explanation. If you need more, you can let me know so that I will still go ahead and explain that.
Okay, so I guess that's clear. Adedeji, Adedeji, if this is not clear enough, please indicate. So now we'll take responses or questions from those whose hands are up. Jennifer Okika, you can unmute yourself and speak, please.
Good afternoon. Thanks for the class. My question is, based on in manufacturing industries now, I do hear things like compliance. And this compliance, is this set up by regulatory bodies? And when these industries don't conform with the compliance, does it warrant shutting down those industries?
Okay. Thank you very much for that question. An good example that came to my mind was something that happened recently, but I don't want to probably use that as an example. So in clauses 4.2, under context of the organization, 4.2 talks about understanding the needs and expectation of interested party. So particularly if your organization is not complying with the regulatory requirements, there's always a sanction for it. Let's take, for example, so we have commercial banks, right? If the regulatory body for commercial bank is CBN, if they are not complying with that, definitely they will get shut down or something will happen along those lines. There will probably be reports that they are sending to CBN. There will probably be some other requirement they need to comply to, but CBN is a regulatory body, right, that regulates all action of all these commercial banks, as the case may be. So regulatory body is in line, or let me say that whether it is manufacturing company, whatever organization that we're talking about here, if they are not in line with the requirements stated by the regulatory body, then they will get sanctioned for it. I wouldn't know if that answers your question.
Okay, does that answer your question, please? So we can move on to the next person. All right, I guess so. We'll move on to Ken. Ken, you can unmute yourself and speak, please.
Thank you for another opportunity. Thank you, Mr. You have done well. But I have a scenario that I really want to find out. Thank God for this class. Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you. Please go ahead, please.
All right. The scenario is, there is an organization that have all of these standards in place, from their jingles. If you go to the organizations, you see there are some of these things posted on their wall, on the organizations. And then at a time, they now fail, their products now fail. So as the customer was now trying to query the reason why that thing was like that and that was like that, you know, one of the senior management leaders, in order to give solution to what has happened, now said that our system is not a perfect system. So I want to know, what's the correlation between perfect system and this standard in an organization that is in place?
Okay, thank you very much for that brilliant question. I really love the scenario that you actually, that you explained. So to answer the question, right, I mentioned something earlier on. Clauses 9 talks about performance evaluation, as the case may be. So then there is always alignment between all the processes that you have. So I mentioned also that in my line of work, when we go out there to audit, we ensure that we point out the shortcomings of organizations to them. And that is what we call maybe non-conformity most of the time, observation, opportunity for improvement, as the case may be. So if these things are followed to the letter and they are closed appropriately, then we can have a very good system. But if they are not followed appropriately, then there will definitely be shortfalls from them. I mentioned also that if we have products that were given out there, I made an example that most of the time when products go out there, that is when I mentioned the non-conforming output. The customer can come back to you and tell you this customer, or can complain, as the case may be, that this product has this defect, this product has this defect. What needs to be done as an organization is to ensure that that issue is well logged, followed through, and ensure that it doesn't happen again. So there's always room for continual improvement, and there's no perfect system anywhere, as the case may be. Only that ISO 9001 is a powerful tool that helps any organization to ensure that their processes are top-notch. At the end of the day, they keep improving by the day. They keep perfecting their process by the day. But please note, there's no 100% system everywhere. There will always be a shortfall at every point in time. And I also mentioned there's maturity level. So the best organizations in our world today, they still have shortfalls at every point in time. They still have where they need to, improve at every point in time. I wouldn't know if that answers your question.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes. And sir, please, is it wise for a top management person to come out vocally to tell you our system is not perfect? Is it wise like that?
So I believe there are departments and units that should have handled that better. I wouldn't know how the whole escalation thing started, right? I believe there should be a department that handled that, and it shouldn't probably be the head of the organization. But as I mentioned, I wouldn't know how the escalation was managed. So assuming the escalation was managed appropriately, it shouldn't have, extended to the fact that probably the organization head have to come and address the issue. There is always a department and a unit that should have handled that.
It's okay. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Bolaji. And Punisho John, you are up next. Please unmute yourself and speak.
Oh.
Punisho John, can you? Okay, please speak. Go ahead, Punisho John. We can't hear you. All right, we don't have much time. Let's move to the next. Alabi Faithful Emmanuel, please unmute yourself and speak. Alabi, can you hear me, please? Okay, we'll move to next. Emmanuel Ogude. Emmanuel Ogude, are you there? Please unmute yourself and speak.
Yes, I'm here. Good morning,
All right.
everyone.
Good morning.
Thanks to Mr. Olaji and the whole team. I want to just get a clarification on something. Is this I know in my organization we are a manufacturing company and we have these auditors that come in most of the time to do these audits. I think on a yearly base, an annual base. So these I want to understand the kind of, are we doing this course to get certified or to create awareness base? Because from what I asked some questions regarding the ISO standard and all that, and I think that was one of the reasons I applied for this course, so that I'll get a better understanding on ISO, the whole family of the ISO standard. So I want to understand, is this training an awareness base, or because I know to be certified means that you can either be a lead auditor an auditor, which is an internal auditor, or this for awareness base. I want to just get a clarification on if we are getting a certification on this level. Another thing I want to just throw there is, do small businesses need this ISO certification? Because I know they pay a whole lot of money to get this certification. I want to understand the kind of criteria that small business need to engage in to get this certification, if you can get me clearly.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah. Thank you very much. Edith, I think
okay.
go ahead.
Yes. Okay. The first part of your question, Mr. Manuel. All right. This program, this ISO that we have scheduled for this 12-week program is to give everybody foundational knowledge to the different ISOs that we have itemized on our program. And for you to go further, to go deeper into the other areas or the other levels of the ISO, because this is just a foundational course. For you to go into implementer course, lead implementer, and the rest of it, if you're interested, you can reach out to us privately and we'll direct you to how to go about that to get certified. However, for this program is to give everybody a foundational knowledge. And like we mentioned from the beginning, there would be assessment for all the sessions, and you will take an assessment for this particular ISO 9001, and after which you would download your certificate, foundational course certificate, and which has been made free by our partner organization, Standard and Best Practice, so that you'll be able to have it free of charge, the foundational assessment. For other levels of the ISO, which are paid, you would have to reach out to us and we will link you directly, and you'll be able to take the certification courses and get certified and the rest of it. I hope this clarifies the first part of your question. Mr. Bullard, you can take it for the second part of his question.
Yeah, thank you very much, Edith. So I think, as I mentioned earlier on, right, there's a particular slide that speaks to the fact that every size of the organization, irrespective of what they do, can actually implement ISO 9001, because at the end of the day, we're talking about customer focus. We're talking about ensuring that all our processes are well attended to, they are well documented, they are structured, and don't forget, we're talking about customer satisfaction. So yes, any size of organization can actually implement ISO 9000. I don't know, does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we move to Blessing Sanctus. Kindly unmute yourself and speak. Blessing Sanctus.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much, Mr. Bolaji. I just want to get clarity concerning the iOS that you've been talking about. You've been so focused on product-based kind of businesses. So I just want to get clarity. Does it also applies to non-product-based business? And for example, somebody that is into content creation that want to build a business around content creation, does it end up the SOS applies to it as well? Just a clarity. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much, Blessing. Like you are using iPhone, Abby. That is why you mentioned iOS in the first place. So it is ISO, right? ISO 9001. And yes, it's not only about products. I think I mentioned services too. So whether you are into product making or delivery, or you are rendering service. So for your content creation too, definitely you are rendering service to people, as the case may be. And definitely, yes, you can implement ISO 9001. Even probably you might not be getting certificate to it. You just want to help, you want to help yourself, maybe as an entrepreneur, to ensure that you get it right and you do the right thing before your services is being delivered or you are delivering your services out there to people. So yes, It's not only for products, definitely it is for your service delivery too. Yeah, thank you very much. Does that answer your question?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Bolaji. So officially we are already on break, all right? So for those who want to take their break, you can go for your break, but let's attend to probably 2 more questions before we really wrap up this session. Okay, Jonathan George. Jonathan, can you unmute yourself and speak? Yes, go ahead, please.
For this wonderful lecture. I want you to kindly confirm this. Is there a way I can or we can get access to a soft copy material of this particular lecture that just took place right now that we can study further, especially for the assessment at the end of the course?
Oh, yes, you would get the lecture materials used for the 3 sessions today, and that would be consistent with all the sessions going forward. For last week's class, we did share the lecture material, and today you'd also get the material and moving forward as well. So you have from Monday to Friday to be able to take all the assessments of the different sessions that we have every Saturday before we meet for the next class. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, it does. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right, we move to Emetezi. Sorry, Emetezi, can you please unmute yourself and speak, please?
Okay, yeah, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, I want to appreciate Mr. Bolaji for his lecture. So it was an interesting one indeed. So my question is, if while implementing the ISO standard for quality management system, is it a must that you must be certified? Like maybe having a knowledge about it help you to implement it in your company, or you have to be certified? So, and my second question is, can an individual be certified for as in, can an individual get certified for ISO standard, like have a certificate?
Okay, so let me answer by saying that yes, an individual can get certified based on your competence, right? And that is why I think one of the persons that asked the question earlier on mentioned there is lead auditor and there's lead implementer actually. So lead implementer, that will help you to have an understanding of the course in itself. So yes, you can get certified, but not the same certification that will be issued for organization. The certification that you have is the certification of competence, not to certify your organization. I don't know if that answers your question. I think that's the second one. The first question is like, it is an added advantage for you to be certified when you want to implement ISO 9001. The understanding and the expectation is that for what you want to implement, you must have 100% competence around it. So it is advisable that if you want to implement ISO 9001 in your organization, or you want to ensure that things are being done in line with ISO 9001, it is an added advantage for you to be certified, right? Certified as a lead implementer because you want to implement. If it is an auditor, I would have mentioned it's lead auditor, but for you that you want to implement, maybe for an organization or an entrepreneur, a business owner, it will be an added advantage to be certified as a lead implementer as a test of competence for ISO 9001. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, yes, it does.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Akim or Adedeji. Please unmute yourself and speak. Akim, are you still there? Okay, Funsho John, your hand is still up.
Hello. Sorry, I'm here.
Okay,
I
Akim,
was
please go
trying to
ahead.
unmute. Yeah. Okay. I actually wanted to respond to one question earlier about the cost of certification and all that. You know, somebody was asking a question if an entrepreneur can get certified and that the cost of being certified is so high, it might be too much for an entrepreneur. You can, as an entrepreneur, you can actually you can implement the standard and get the benefit of implementing the standard without getting certification. So when you see the benefit and you see that your customers are certified, your organization or your business is improving and all that, you can now go ahead and do the certification. So getting the benefit has nothing to do with getting the certification. And for you to get certification in a company, like just like Mobolaji said, you must be a lead implementer to implement it. And for you to get certification, only certified implementers are allowed to actually lead the implementation in an organization. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for that beautiful contribution. Edith, do we have somebody
Okay,
else?
Funsho John, go ahead, please. Funsho John, we cannot hear you. Okay, while we wait for him to come on, okay, somebody have a question in the chat room. Mr. Bolaji says, do we have a functional ISO body in Nigeria?
Okay, so I know that I would say that I know of a body in Nigeria presently. I know that standard and best practice, they're working on something. I'm sure, I think they are actually certified, but you know there is SON in Nigeria too, right? So those ones also engage in certifying organizations too. However, we have SON, and I'm sure that standard and best practice is also capable of certifying organizations to an extent. And we have consulting companies that can actually help to link you with ISO bodies. When I say ISO bodies, bodies that can actually certify organizations, right? And that can give you certificate of competence for your lead auditor or your lead implementer, as the case may be, for development in your organization. Yes, thank you very much. Does that answer your question, Mr. Nee?
All right, I think so. Thank you very much. That would be all the questions we can take at this moment. So please, thank you very much, Mr. Bolaji. Can we please put a round of applause in the chat room as we appreciate him for his time. Thank you for taking us through this session. It was quite informative. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Edith. Thank you very much, everybody. It's a lovely time being here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So we're officially on break. We'll be back by 1:30 to commence the last segment of today's class. So please do not be late, be early, and let's kick up and round up. Do not forget, we'll have a practical session on how to use Pencil. Pencil is one of the tools that you need to know how to use as a business analyst. So do not miss the last session, and we'll see you by 1:30. Enjoy your short break.